as the Cardinals take the field behind Miles Michaelis. We have a look at our Lowe's whole team together. Last 8 games at home, and the Cardinals only 1 loss. Look at the runs per game, above 5, and the runs allowed are under 3, and that's a good combination.
I feel like that's a really nice recipe for success. And look, the Cardinals over the last couple of years haven't been as dominant at home as we've seen them in the past. And hopefully times are a-changing this year. Those numbers are great, and as are Miles Michaelis' numbers this year. You see the way he's been throwing the ball. You look at the arsenal right there. All those pitches, you see the percentages. He throws them all for strikes. He has been so good so far. Been fun to watch Miles Michaelis.
The last 8 games for Joe Madden, his offense has really struggled. They're hitting just 181 the last 8 games. His lineup tonight: the switch hitting, Ben Zobrist, then Chris Bryant, third baseman the slugger, Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras, Kyle Schwarber, Albert Almora Jr., great glove man in center. A great glove man is right fielder Jason Hayward, then Javi Baez and Jose Quintana. We turn to Brad Thompson. Toyota keys to the game.
Well, for Miles Michaelis, it starts up with filling up the strike zone. He's done such a great job of that so far this year. He's pumping strikes. He's getting ahead. He's commanding counts. No need to nibble when he's out there. And attention to detail in this series. These are 2 teams that will likely play some tight games throughout the year, right? Who plays clean defense? Who gets the guy over? Who does all the little things? That's going to be the story of this series.
A look at Ben Zobrist, the switch hitter. Miles Michaelis coming off a tough no decision a week ago in Pittsburgh. The Cardinals, you may recall, blew a 3-run lead in the 9th. They lost in 11, but amazingly, part of the equation, the efficiency, the strikes of Michaelis. 27 strikeouts to only 2 walks.
Oh, you got to love that. Like I said, filling up the zone. This is an aggressive team that the Cubs have. He's going to go right at him.
And the first pitch taken for a ball, and we are underway. Cubs Cardinals weekend series here at Busch Stadium. And that's ripped into right field, and a leadoff base hit for Ben Zobrist on a pitch that was up. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Ozuna, Pham, Fowler in the outfield. On the infield for St. Louis, Jerko the start at third, DeYoung at short, Carpenter and Martinez on the right side, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Our game time temperature 72 degrees. Here's Chris Bryant, and he looks at a strike. Bryant was hit on the helmet, facial area in a game against the Colorado Rockies. Had to sit out a couple of games. Really a scary situation for the Chicago Cubs. Misses outside, 1 ball, 1 strike, and here's what we're talking about at Coors Field.
Well, as a pitcher, you always know with a guy like Chris Bryant, you need to go inside, but you never want to go somewhere like that. And honestly, Chris Bryant is so fortunate that that's all that happened. But it has thrown him off a little bit, and rightfully so. His numbers since that have not looked great.
And the 1-1 is tapped foul. You can understand why a hitter would be hesitant to get back in the box. It takes some guts. And since that took place, his average 167. 5 strikeouts in 5 games. A total of 12 in the first 19. Get the feeling, and Bryant does wear the protection on the front of the face. More and more players will start to do that. Become more commonplace in the game as that's it out of play.
It's just like anything else. It's reps with it on. For a lot of guys, you do something the same way for a long time. It doesn't feel comfortable. Then you take a few ABs and realize you might be saving your career if one goes up and in that way. And all of a sudden you take a couple of hacks with it and it feels all right.
Jason Hayward was hit on the face. He wears that protective gear. Now Yadier Molina, Colt Wong, many players do it. And it's 2-2. The Cardinals start play tonight, just a half game back in Milwaukee. And the Cubs 1 game out overall, half game back of St. Louis. It is a tight Central after just a little over a month. Pittsburgh 2 games out. And the 2-2. And it's a rare 3-ball count for Miles Mikolas.
A really nice curveball right here by Miles. Doesn't get the call. Probably a good call, but one that's about a 50-50 right there. Tough call for Bill Miller. I think he made the right one.
He has faced 134 batters, and that is only the 10th time. Think about that. 134 batters, only the 10th time it's gone to a 3-ball count with this man on the mound.
It's incredible. I
really
mean,
is.
Just the fact that he attacks as well as he does. He's got that great arsenal, and he just gets outs early on. I know that Mike Maddox talked about the fact that when he had him initially, he struggled with the off speed. He struggled with different pitches and different counts. Well, now he's got a feel for it.
And a swing and a miss and a strikeout of Chris Bryant.
Miles Mikolas elevates a little bit right here with this cutter. You had him looking down after that breaking ball off the plate and changes the eye level with that one. Very nice pitch right there for him.
Here's Anthony Rizzo. He's homered in back-to-back games after just 1 home run in his first 18. Remember, he did spend time on the DL with a sore lower back. Really crowds the plate. And yet he has struggled with pitches on the outside corner. That's hit foul. Makes you think if he's crowding the plate, he's inviting you to go inside, but yet plate coverage as close as he is, it's surprising he's hitting .091 on pitches on the outside corner.
Well, you got to feel like that's not going to last for very long either. And here's the thing about Rizzo. You can get in on him. You can throw that strike on the inner half. The problem is it's hard to execute that all the time. And if you leave one out over the middle of the plate, that's where he does his damage.
Here's a 0-1. Turned on that pitch in from Mikolas. Nothing in 2.
Very well executed right there. 93 on the inner half. And that's just the big thing with a guy like Rizzo. He hits mistakes. He's one of the better hitters in baseball. Don't let that 171 fool you. I mean, that is going to change here. It could be any day. Hopefully it's not in the next 3 days, but it could be any day that he gets it going on.
Such a good hitter. Long track record. And the 0-2 pitch to Rizzo from Miles Mikolas. Instead, another check on the runner. That's Zobrist at first. No steals yet this year.
Not too many guys in baseball do what we're seeing Rizzo do. Joey Votto chokes up with 2 strikes. He'll choke up early in the count, but he doesn't want to strike out. He's willing to put the ball in play and make something happen.
The Cubs have only attempted, by the way, 11 stolen bases this year, successful in 6. It's almost like an American League team, and yet the White Sox, their crosstown rivals, they steal bases at a National League level.
It's just they're flipping roles here, and they've just got different personnel. The White Sox are younger. They use their speed. They're rangy, and the Cubs just have been flip-flopping the top of their order anyhow recently. They are trying to get something going. Speed's not always the way. It's a great weapon to have.
There's Martinez out there, back to first, and Mikolas couldn't pick it. That ball into the Cardinals dugout. Would have been a double play. The low throw. Mikolas couldn't pick it, and Rizzo winds up in scoring position.
You work on a lot of things as a pitcher, covering first base being one of them, but that's difficult. Makes a great pitch, gets him tied up. Nice job by Jose Martinez, by the way, turning that. He was working on that exact play earlier before batting practice. Miles just finds himself a little tied up on that short throw. Very tough play from him. Good pitch, but tough play over at first.
And DeYoung charged with the error. That's his 3rd of the season. And now it's Wilson Contreras, the cleanup man for Chicago. Only 1 home run. He was 2 for 8 in the brief 2-game series at Wrigley. And batting .258 on the year. One ball and 1 strike. Wilson Contreras has become the #1 catcher for Chicago. Athletic, plays with a lot of flair, big arm behind the plate, maybe the strongest in the game.
Yeah, he's really good back there. He knows his staff very well. Like you said, he can swing it.
The 1-1 off the glove of Michaelis, and Carpenter makes the play. That'll go 1-4-3. The Cubs strand a runner, and the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first, and that means Tommy Pham, then Matt Carpenter, and Jose Martinez. Cubs and Cardinals on Fox Sports Mid. His ERA was close to 8 prior to that start. Tommy Pham leads it off, followed by Matt Carpenter and Jose Martinez. Then Marcell Ozuna, Yadier Molina, Dexter Fowler, Jed Jerko, Paul DeJong, and the pitcher spot, Miles Michaelis. The numbers on Jose Quintana, 3-1. And we'll see what he has in store for the Cardinals tonight. There's Tommy Pham. He is 3rd in the league in average of the National League. And the first pitch is strike. The Hyundai pitch arsenal, fastball, curve, and change from Quintana, the former White Sox. One ball, one strike. How about Tommy Pham, by the way, Brad? He's 3rd in average, 4th in runs, 2nd right now in on-base percentage.
And it really doesn't matter where you put him in the lineup. He's going to get it done. I like the feel of him at the top of the lineup. You know, he's not afraid to use his legs. He's got gap-to-gap power. I mean, he can start the game 1-0 for you. He's that kind of guy. It seems to be a good fit for him.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Tommy Pham. By the way, when he leads off an inning, his average as he limps around home plate is .440. The on-base percentage, .533.
Well, that just makes too much sense then.
Yeah.
Might as well just keep putting him there.
Seeing the ball better, too, may surprise some. We talk so much about his vision, but he has 20 walks on the year, which is tied with Matt Carpenter atop the team lead. 2-2.
For all the struggles that Jose Quintana has had this year against everybody but the Brewers, he has been very good with 2 strikes. Makes very few mistakes when he does get in control of the count. So you're going to look for something down in the zone.
And the 2-2 pitch to Pham. Down in the zone and in the dirt. Further your point, very tough. Lowest opponent's average with 2 strikes, and there's Quintana. Big gap in left center. And the 3-2 pitch to Tommy Pham. Bounce left side, gloved by Bryant, spins and throws a strike to Rizzo. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Schwarber, Almora, and Hayward in the outfield. Along the infield, Bryant, Baez at short tonight. Addison Russell on the bench. Zobrist at second. Rizzo at first, and Wilson Contreras is behind the plate. Curious what that is about after 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Joe Maddon coming out to visit with the home plate umpire Bill Miller, who also serves as tonight's crew chief.
Probably just had to get his steps in. You know, that's the thing. Everybody's counting those nowadays.
And there's a strike to Carpenter. Starting to see signs of Carpenter come out of this early season funk.
Well, there are some guys that you worry about. Maybe a guy that doesn't have a track record. Matt's got one, and you know that his approach is great. He's going to be fine. It takes some time, and I know that GM Michael Gersh came up to him and said, hey, look, these are the numbers. You've had some bad luck here recently. It is what it is, and he is very confident. To borrow a term from Mo, he's quite bullish about the fact that he is going to be just fine out there. It's all about staying consistent with your approach. If you start to try to continue to change things when you struggle, you're going to find yourself all out of whack.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Carpenter. It's also interesting to see how teams defend Carpenter. The White Sox had that exaggerated shift. The Pirates did it with 2 strikes. And there's a shift here, but not nearly as exaggerated for Carpenter that we've seen for the better part of this year. Now, part of that, I'm sure, is lefty-lefty matchup. You know, Carpenter sometimes can inside out that swing to left field.
And you know that when Carpenter is on, and you're right, things are trending in the right direction for him, but when he is on, he can drive the ball wherever he wants. And so maybe right now you don't have to do that shift because he's kind of spreading the ball around.
And now the 2-2 pitch to Carpenter. He's gone to a 3-2 count. The first 2 hitters. You go back to June 6th of last year, Carpenter was hitting .209. So a couple of seasons now in a row with these slow starts. And the 3-2 pitch to Matt Carpenter. And he draws a walk, the 21st of his season. Boy, Quintana cannot be happy about that.
Well, you had him where you want him, weren't able to bury him. We talked coming into it about the eye that he has. He can foul off anything close. He'll take the ball that's right off the plate. You know that he's not the 167 hitter that he is currently. He also made a big point of coming into the season. He's not the 240 hitter. He's a lot better than that as well. Just a matter of time.
The team leader in doubles, Jose Martinez. The Cardinals, by the way, the only team in all of baseball without a triple. 29 games to start the season without a 3-bagger. A franchise high. Major league record, by the way, 41 games. The Giants did that back in 1982.
You know, Dan, the Derby is tomorrow. Pick your pony for me really quick. Who's going to hit the first triple for the St. Louis Cardinals this year?
You're asking the wrong announcer, because the one that would know for sure is on the radio side at Mike Shannon.
I didn't ask him which horse was going to win. I didn't ask that. I asked who's going to hit the first triple.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I thought you were going Derby.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm going Tommy Pham. You?
I'm going to go Colton Wong.
I like that choice too. There's Mike Shannon. We'll be celebrating the 68 club. You'll be hearing more about that throughout the season. And Bob Gibson's celebration of 1.12, the ERA of 1968. Maybe Mike Shannon wasn't thinking about the races. I was. So you can put that on me.
I think I will.
I enjoy my ponies.
Have you been to the Derby?
I've not been to the Derby because we're always working, but I'll be glued to a TV set and to my pocketbook. Here's a 2-1 pitch. And that's ripped into right center. Almora lays out, couldn't get it. It's a base hit, and Carpenter moves up to second on the play. Albert Almora Jr. has made some highlight reel catches this year, but couldn't come up with that one.
He had this ball shaded very well. This thing is hit on the screws by Martinez, and maybe they'd had a little bit of a funky look. I don't know if it knuckled on him or just he got on it quicker than expected. Looks like he just lost the handle on it. Had a beat on this ball.
He sure did. Carpenter in no man's land. It looks like he's going to catch it. Go back, go forward, go back, go forward. Winds up at second.
Well, that's all you can do. Like you said, he's been catching everything out there in center field. You expect that one, even as well as it's struck, to be caught.
And now Marcell Ozuna. We have been waiting for Carpenter, in no particular order, Ozuna and Fowler, to get back to where we know they can be. And yet they haven't hit. And the Cardinals have been getting good starting pitching. The bullpen has been so-so. You know, it's had, yes, good times, bad times, but if you get these three going, or two of the three going, it's a different looking team.
I think that's the most amazing part of this season thus far, is that the Cardinals are where they are without those things clicking. I mean, once they do, watch out.
April 13th, the last home run for the Cardinals slugger Ozuna. Long look at the 1-0 pitch. 1-1. First matchup between these two, Quintana and Ozuna. Runners at first and second. Ozuna, base hit into left field. Carpenter being waved home. Throw by Schwarber. Offline a bit and out. The tag applied. Carpenter gunned down. And the Cardinals stay off the board. It's a former catcher in Kyle Schwarber. Showed a pretty good arm. The throw was just a bit offline, but he certainly got him.
Well, and I'll tell you, if you're going to take a chance on somebody in the outfield, it should be Schwarber, right? He comes up with this one clean. He does everything very well, but you know that he has had some issues out there in the past. You take a chance early on, but they made you pay for it. Nice throw. Great tag right there by Contreras to get back there and just beat Carpenter.
The first outfield assist of the season for Kyle Schwarber. So instead of having the bases loaded and only one out, with your number 5 hitter coming up in Molina, there's 2 down, runners at first and second. Molina is 5 for his last 10. The 1-0 pitch. Hit out of play. By the way, with the walk for Carpenter, his 21st of the year. He's now tied with the great Red Schoendienst, 14th all-time in Cardinals history, 497.
Jeez. If your name is next to Red for anything, it's an honor.
Love seeing him here at the ballpark.
They don't make him much better than Red.
Nope. Molina historically has been very good in this spot in his career. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs. His average 288. Thus far this season, it's at 182.
Well, he's just so good at going the other way. If it's a breaking ball up in the zone, he'll take it, hit it over the second baseman. He can shoot a ground ball right through that hole as well.
The 2-1 pitch. Looked like he was trying to take that pitch to right.
Yeah, there's just no reason to try to do too much. We know Yadi's got big time power, but he doesn't try to force it. I mean, he knows how Quintana is going to try to attack him right now. It's going to be away, away, away. And what do you do with it? Well, you take it that way.
This will be pitch number 25 of the inning. Twelve balls, 12 strikes for the lefty Quintana. Runners at first and second. And the next 2, the Cardinals catcher. He struck him out, and the Cardinals strand 2. Quintana out of the jam in the first inning. Some new additions to the Cardinals Hall of Fame to tell you about. We'll do that when we come back. A Red Ribbon Committee selection. Vince Coleman and Ray Langford selected by the fans. Congratulations to Harry, his family, Vince Coleman, and Ray Langford, all headed to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. And with more on that, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, Chris Carpenter was part of the 2016 class of the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame, and he told me he gets excited for the announcement of a new class every year. Carpenter told me the way the Cardinals honor their past and keep former greats around means a lot, not only to fans, but to current players as well. He told me, I came from Toronto where there was none of that. When I got to the Cardinals, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Carpenter told me having guys like Ozzie, Willie, and the others around has an impact on how you look at an organization, but also on expectations. And I asked him if he could believe that he's now one of those guys. Dan, he told me honestly, no, it still hasn't sunk in.
Good stuff, Jimmy. And Chris Carpenter is traveling around the minor leagues and obviously here tonight helping out before the game with the big league club. That was Schwarber that lined out to left, and here's Albert Almora Jr. And Chris Carpenter, somebody you know, Brad Thompson, quite well.
Well, I love the fact that Carpenter's just around the organization more, and he's going to have a big impact on all the young guys throughout the system. He'll have an impact this weekend just being here in town. I love talking pitching with him, and I hope that everybody takes advantage of it because he's one of the best.
The pitch that was up and a base hit into right. One out single for Albert Almora Jr. and it brings in Jason Hayward.
Saw a little trend the first couple of batters this inning. You saw Schwarber line out to left field on the first pitch. You saw Albert Almora Jr. swinging on the first pitch as well. Get to knock on that one up a couple pitches later. You know that Miles Michaelis is going to be in the zone, so they're probably going to be aggressive. Miles can make that work to his advantage if he lives under the zone.
The Cardinals Hall of Fame, there are the numbers for Hayward. Over 60,000 votes were cast by Cardinals fans over a 6-week voting period. Second highest total since the inaugural vote back in 2014. Vince Coleman spent 6 years in St. Louis. 6 years, 549 stolen bases. Now think about that. 549. It's an average in a season of just under 92. And we thought, well, how good was it? We went and looked it up. It's the best 6-year stolen base average in Major League history. Not Rickey Henderson, not Lou Brock, not Ty Cobb, but 6 years here in St. Louis, the best. Vince Coleman, and he's headed to the Hall of Fame.
I know that the game has changed quite a bit, and steals may not have the value that they used to. They certainly had a lot of value for Vince Coleman and the Cardinals from '85 to 1990.
Ozzie Smith, Willie McGee, Vince Coleman, Terry Pendleton, Tommy Herr, the running Redbirds of Whitey Herzog's clubs. Hit the other way. They'll get the lead man at least, and no chance to get Hayward. That actually was DeYoung with a shift that made that turn. An odd turn for him, tough to do it. But the shortstop on a ball hit left side trying to turn two.
Jed Jerko makes a nice play, and yeah, it is an awkward angle that you're not normally coming at. Still makes a good transition right here, but just not able to get him, miss him by a step or two. You know, Hayward moves quite well.
So here is Javi Baez. It's not often when your number 8 hitter is first in the National League in RBI. He's first. He's got 26. And he's tied with the Mets left fielder Yoenis Cespedes, both with 26. Hayward leaning towards second. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Kubota power stats. Last series 5 for 9. Home run, double, triple. And he drove in 2. This season, Javi Baez, 29 hits. 19 of the 29 have gone for extra bases.
Well, Javi Baez is very aggressive also. He doesn't let too many strikes in the zone go by without taking a pass at it, and he can do some damage. I mean, you have to be very careful with him.
And Brad, this isn't like just a guy appearing in the 8th spot. This is the 9th time he's been in this spot. Hits it out to deep left. Ozuna backhand makes the catch on the track. The Cubs strand their second runner of the night. We're midway through 2. Here's Dexter Fowler. Off to a 1-for-22 start from this side of the plate. Hit home run number 100 on Wednesday of his career. And the 0-1. There's swing and a miss. Fowler will always be remembered in Cubs history. Game 7 against the Indians, World Series leadoff homer. 2 seasons in Chicago.
You go, we go, right?
That's right.
Well, you got a feeling that he'll get it going. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're a young player or a veteran. You've been around for a while. You just need a couple games. You need a couple days in a row where you're seeing the ball well, where you're barreling it up, even outs, right? Even if you're barreling those up to get the momentum going, he's just still kind of waiting for that groove.
That pitch down and in, 2-2. Let's see what he can do on a 3-2 pitch here to the former Cub Dexter Fowler. He's had good numbers, 5-for-13 with a homer against this lefty. He pulls it foul, and watch out. Last year was the first time, Brad, in over 100 years the Cubs and Cardinals did not play a weekend series in St. Louis. And I was saying to somebody today, I think this is the hardest ticket to get in probably the last 5 years. My phone was ringing off the hook.
I'm sure it was. I called you. You never called back, actually.
That was by design.
I know it was.
That could have been against the Marlins on a Wednesday in April.
I've noticed that, actually. That's our relationship right now. I get it. Pay your dues. You remember my first couple of years in the big leagues? I just sat there with my head in my locker. Didn't bother anybody. I understand. I get it. This is your zone. I get it.
It was tough to get your attention when you were playing.
It certainly was.
Brad, would you like to do an interview?
Yes, sir.
Walk away. 3-2 pitch. Deep in the hole at short. Baez can't come up with it and fires it wide of first base. He's so flashy, so talented, and such a big arm.
He's a really good player, but one thing you want to make sure you never do, doesn't matter where you're at, don't turn one mistake into two, and he darn near did it there. Lost the handle and then aired out a throw. Fortunately for them, it ends up staying in play, but that could have been way more costly.
That's his 8th error already. That's the most in Major League Baseball at any position. And to his right is Chris Bryant, who's already committed 5. So you have 13 errors combined right now with Baez and Bryant. Here's Jed Jerko.
Stuff like that just kind of tells you the value of putting the baseball in play, right? We are in a world right now where guys strike out a ton. Well, strikeouts don't put pressure on anybody. A random ground ball to short or third, maybe that does.
I look at the Pittsburgh Pirates last weekend of being a good example of going against what is the trend in baseball, which is strikeouts, home runs, and they put the ball in play and good things happen. May not be the most talented of the teams, but they put the ball in play. Nice work there by Wilson Contreras to keep that in front, and Fowler's still at the bag at first.
Well, I know that Jed Jerko hasn't got as many opportunities here recently as maybe he would like. I mean, you came into spring thinking that he was going to be the everyday guy over there at third base. But, man, every time he has had an opportunity, he's taken advantage of it. You look at the numbers he's put up. He is swinging it well.
Here's a 1-1. Little tapper hit up the third base line. Glove by Bryant. And the pick by Rizzo. Safe at first. Rizzo off the bag. The throw, it may have beaten him, but Angel Hernandez says he's off the bag. And that'll be a base hit for Jerko.
Well, Jed puts the pressure on. Again, this ball might have rolled foul, but Bryant, I mean, he's made that play a ton of times. Short throws him and absolutely pulled the foot a little bit right there. Good hustle by Jed Jerko to get down the line, put a little pressure on him.
Well, that's a good call. You could see that he was in a perfect spot to see whether or not the foot was on the bag, and then Rizzo reaching for it. And Brad, now the Cardinals have had 5 of the first 7 in the lineup reach. This is where you have to make them pay.
It is for sure. Well, once again, going back to the keys of the game, it's the little things, right? Are you going to be able to get a guy, you get him on, are you able to get him over? Are you able to get him in? It's the fundamental baseball. You got to keep it moving.
Now Paul DeYoung. Had the chance to visit with Paul earlier today. And he said, you know what people forget is that I have not been in the big leagues for even a year yet. May 28th will be his debut. And he said, I hear the chatter. People talk about, well, he's striking out a bunch. He said, I don't worry about it. He said, I always have been this way. I just play the game and I'm able to put it behind me. Lifts a fly ball into right. We know Hayward has a good arm. Makes the catch. And the throw into third to Bryant. And if you're Quintana now, you're thinking, I can get out of this inning with the pitcher coming up. And it'll be the pitcher, Miles Michaelis, 1 for 10 this year. That one hit, his first ever major league home run. That drove in 2 as we flash back to Milwaukee. And Michaelis with that home run. And no big deal.
That didn't barely get out either. He hit that thing pretty well.
Pulls that foul. It's a rocket there.
Hey, especially in a situation like this, you know that Jose Quintana is going to try to get ahead of you as a pitcher. Look, you're probably not going to be able to cover the down and away very well. You're probably not, any very good pitch that he throws up there, you're going to have a tough time with. So be aggressive early. You see something up, go at it.
And the 0-1 pitch. A strike, 0-2. Michaelis does have 2 sacrifices this year.
Jose Quintana, even though he's had some guys on base, he's done a very good job of keeping his fastballs on the corners. He's getting the call off the plate both ways right now. So you expand the zone a little bit.
And the 0-2. A strikeout of Miles Michaelis as Contreras held on. And strikeout number 2 for Quintana. It's a whole new ball game with RBI Baseball 18. RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise and much more. Rated E for everyone. Now Tommy Pham with runners at first and second. Pham grounded out to third, first time up. Cardinals have scored 8 runs the last 4 games, and yet they're 2-2. It's been some timely hitting along the way. And the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes. Tommy Pham. The average really stands out in this spot, 438, and he has not struck out with a runner in scoring position the entire year.
That's really good. It's
what
a good
you
number,
want.
right? Yes, it is. Do something right. Once again, put the pressure on somebody else.
The 2-0 pitch to Tommy Pham. Long look by Quintana. Pham with a high fly ball, deep left field, one swing, 3-0 St. Louis. Tommy Pham unloads over the Cubs bullpen. His 5th of the year. 3-0 Redbirds. partner says, put the ball in play. Good things happen.
Well, good things happen right there, like a conga line. Conga line's always a good thing. You ever been somewhere where a conga line broke out and it was a bad thing? No, never. Never. Think about it, but never. No, never is the answer to it. Just gets a pitch right there, finds himself 2-0 in the count, finds one middle in, and just puts a hurting on it right there. That was huge.
He now has driven in 14 and a strike on Carpenter. And Quintana's probably thinking I should have been out of the inning anyway. The air on Javi Baez. Then you had an infield base hit where I'm sure Baez would have, or rather Bryant would have rather let that go down the line, but he couldn't. Had to take the chance. 50-50 play, and one swing of the bat, and Tommy Pham makes it 3-0. So no balls, 2 strikes on Matt Carpenter. Home run measured at 412 feet off the bat of Tommy Pham.
It's nice to you put a little pressure on somebody, and maybe they put a little on themselves with the error, right? You have the infield single, but then to have the exclamation point, then to have that big hit, because you get momentum out of it. If you're the opposition and you have a few things like that happen behind you and you get out of it unscathed, well, you feel pretty good about things. Right now, you make some mistakes, you pay for it, you're down 3-0.
And a strikeout of Carpenter. 2 in the inning, 3 in the game for Quintana. But one mistake he made. This blast off the bat of Tommy Pham. He knew it. 3-run shot. And the Redbirds on top after 2. For St. Louis, a look at StatCast with that blast.
Well, he's got it all. He's got the launch angle, the distance, and a 3-0 lead. My goodness, that was fun right there. Got a little loud in here, Dan.
Sure did. Last 4 games, all but 1 run by the Cardinals has come from the home runs. So the Cardinals come in play tonight, 3rd in the National League in home runs behind Colorado and Washington. The 2-1 pitch by Michaelis. It's Quintana here, and then Zobrist and Bryant. See Yachty there. That's your former battery mate, almost pointing to Michaelis. Hey, just come right to me. Come to me. We're good.
Sometimes it just takes a small reminder. It doesn't matter how long you've been pitching. There you go. Nice and easy. Come right at me. It's a funny thing. It's an easy thing, right? Easy pointer. If you got any kids at home, take your head to the target. It's that easy, right? Your head is going to follow. Your body's going to follow your head. That's what Yachty's saying. Come right at me.
What was he like in meetings, good or bad, on the mound? Maybe it's situational or trying to calm you down, whatever. What was it like?
Well, I'll tell you what, that was one of my favorite things about him, because he knew each and every pitcher. He knows what they need. So if you're a guy that he needs to jump on you to get you going, he could do that. And if you're a guy that needs a little pat on the behind and you're going to be fine, he knows that as well. But he knows the situations unlike anybody else. His scouting is far and beyond at least anybody else I've seen. The prep work he puts in is ridiculous. And if he puts down a finger back there, it's not for no reason, right? There are some guys where you're just like, oh, what is he thinking? You already know that the thought process has happened for you.
Do you shake him off very often?
Well, and then I got a new ball from the umpire each time I did. So not too many times.
You're not talking about a foul ball.
No, generally the long one. That's the thing, though. Even if it's Yachty, he's and I believe that he'll be a Hall of Famer when his career is over. As a pitcher, you got to throw what you have conviction in, right? So if Yachty, he doesn't know how you're feeling about everything at any given time. So you're still in charge there, but you know this. He's putting something down that he believes if you can execute it with your stuff, you're going to get an out with it.
1 ball and 1 strike on Chris Bryant. Pulls it foul. Struck out swinging back in the first inning, 0 for 1.
With the
I'm with you. I think he's a Hall of Famer too, by the way.
I do too, no doubt about it. With the recent struggles, by the way, Chris Bryant has had, and we showed the highlight earlier of him getting hit in the head, a scary moment. Inside is a pretty good place to go to set him up away. 98, by the way, on the gun. You see all the different pitches from Miles Michaelis. You see the big breaking ball that he throws around 80 miles an hour. He's got a nice slider. He's got a changeup that he uses every once in a while. 98 will sneak up on you after you've seen all that.
And the 1-2, back inside goes Molina. Popped up. Martinez won't get there out of play. One and two the count on Chris Bryant. He's been an MVP, the Rookie of the Year, and a world champion already. He rips it to third, and it's caught by Jerko. Tremendous catch. They call it the hot corner. You just saw why. Jed Jerko, the top of his leap, robbing Chris Bryant, who's 0 for 2. A blast by Tommy Pham. I want to send out well wishes to Vicki Bryant, VP Event Services and Merchandising here at the ballpark. She's all over the place, and Vicki is resting comfortably at home. Fractured tibia, and so Vicki is one of the busiest people here at the ballpark. So I wish her nothing but the best, and also those that are in her house, because I know how antsy she's going to be to get back here to the ballpark. But Vicki, in all seriousness, we miss you down here, and get back here soon and enjoy a little baseball tonight. There's a base hit into right for Jose Martinez. He's 2 for 2. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Jose Martinez once again just not trying to do too much. Gets the barrel on this thing. This is a fastball outer half on the black. Stays with it, drives one the other way, gets something going again.
And the batter is Marcell Ozuna, single to left. Cardinals tried to score Carpenter on the base hit, and he was thrown out by Schwarber. 1 for 1.
You got to think too, the way that he turned on that thing, and you see that first pitch off the plate away, that Quintana is going to want to try to stay away from him if possible, try to get him to extend, but Ozuna can drive the ball the other way as well.
Way inside. The 2-0. Well, you know he's got the green light. 3 balls, no strikes, and Ozuna could make it 5-0 with 1 swing.
We saw the 2-0 mistake that Quintana made to Tommy Pham. You got to think that Ozuna is sitting here, 1 pitch, 1 spot. If he throws it there, he's going to unleash.
Here's a 3-0. Marcell Ozuna has not swung the bat on a 3-0 count yet this year. I find that really surprising.
Probably because nobody throws him that one right down the middle. That's the thing. Even if you have the green light, there's got to be a pitch in a certain spot that you want it. If it's not there, lay off it.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Inside corner, missed. And it's the second walk issued by Quintana. Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute, especially with a weekend like this one? Get the StubHub app. You can grab 100% MLB verified tickets up until the first pitch. StubHub, official partner of your St. Louis Cardinals. Yadi chased a pitch up with 2 strikes. First time up. It's already the 8th base runner for the Cardinals against Quintana. And we're only in the third. Now you say, Brad, it's early, and you know, how big are these games? Just go back to last year. Cardinals and Cubs had identical records except against each other.
There was a wide margin there. 5-14 the Cardinals win against the Cubs last year. If you are 500 against them, you're a playoff team, right?
This will be a mound visit. You know, you had two catchers in this game that went out to the mound more than any catchers a year ago. And there's a look at the team records and what we're talking about from a year ago. But both catchers have had to make that adjustment this year, as Wilson Contreras has even come out and publicly said prior to this year, I will take the fine. If I get fined and Major League Baseball doesn't like it, I don't care. But I need to go out and talk to my pitcher.
Yeah, both of those guys are so good at it. They can calm their pitchers down, and that's the thing. And I'm glad that the rules were implemented when they were in spring training, where you have a chance to talk it over with your guys. And earlier you saw Yadier Molina with Miles Michaelis say, "Hey, just come right at me. Like, start leaning this way." Maybe it's a little sign here and there to get somebody's attention. You got to figure out different ways. It can't always be the walk out there and talk to him, but you still got to be able to settle your pitchers down.
Here's the 0-1. Pulled foul. The BJC Healthcare difference maker. This is his career, which began in 2004. What he's done, Busch Stadium 2, now 3 against the Cubs.
No surprise, right? It doesn't matter what the records are for the teams when they play. When it's Cubs, Cardinals, it's a big deal, right? Who shows up at big moments? Well, Yadi does.
And a ground ball left side, out at second, and the second double play that Molina has grounded into this year. And it brings in Dexter Fowler. Once again, if you missed our Hall of Fame show at 6, the newest inductees to the Cardinals Hall of Fame: Vince Coleman, Harry Brackeen, and Ray Langford, the all-time leader in home runs at Busch Stadium 2. And he's in a number of offensive categories in the top 10 all-time in Cardinals history. 1996, Tony La Russa took over the club. The Cardinals were up 3-1 on the Atlanta Braves to head to the World Series to face the Yankees. And Ray Langford hurt himself after the Cardinals had clinched in the regular season. If healthy, Tony has said this before, if he was healthy, Ray was in the prime of his career, they may win that series.
Unfortunately, with a couple of the Hall of Famers, there's stories like that. Everybody knows what happened with Vince Coleman. Kind of a different thing when you have those guys out there.
The 2-0 pitch, up and in. Ray Langford, we had heard so much about him for fans that grew up watching the Cardinals. We had heard about this young man in the minor leagues, and he burst onto the scene, and boy, was he fun to watch. Speed, power, tremendous outfielder. All-Star in '97, 5th most home runs in franchise history, which may surprise some. And how about that? The 20 years. You know, we talk about Tommy Pham, the first to do it since Reggie Sanders in '04 in Cardinals history. Ray did it 5 times.
No big deal. By the way, he's still got that sweet stroke. Got a chance to see him at the Cardinals fantasy camps. He's dropping bombs left and right. He's still got it.
And that's a walk to Fowler. 2 in the inning and 3 in the game. Jed Jerko made that great play moments ago at third base. He has slimmed down this year. It's a great shape. And as you talked about, hasn't played a lot this season, but when he has, he's made a difference.
He has for sure, and this could be a huge spot for him. Quintana's fallen behind a bunch of times. He's trying to get ahead with a fastball. Maybe here he throws one a little bit too good.
Infield hit, run scored, first time up. Good numbers against the lefty. Oof. What a cut. Nothing in 2.
It's a tough one to handle up there. It's 90 miles an hour. It doesn't seem overpowering, but it's just above that area where you can get the barrel to it. It's a dangerous pitch, though, to a guy like Jed Jerko, because if you do miss, if that thing ends up belt high as opposed to letter high, you got a chance you're going to be fishing that thing out of Big Mac land.
1 ball, 2 strikes. I think about Jerko, and I think about Martinez. They can square up any fastball in the league.
Oh, they can for sure. And the challenge is for Mike Matheny is to get them both in the lineup, because they're both swing it well. Jerko plays a great third base. Saw an example of that last inning. It's a good problem to have, but a problem nonetheless to get those bats in the lineup all the time.
To further Brad's point, Jed Jerko, when he plays, he's had 32 plate appearances. He's reached 17 times. Hit by pitch, walk, base hit, whatever. Now the 2-2 pitch. And he struck him out, tied him up on a fastball up and in. 91. And strikeout number 4 for Quintana.
Didn't just throw 7 1/3 innings, a 1-run ball. He also smacked his very first home run of his major league career. He told me after, I was waiting to do that for a long time. Carlos got the home run ball back, and he says it will go in his oldest son's room. Here's why. Carlos told me this. He gave me a hug when I got home and said, "Now I know you're my father because you can hit." One more thing about his homer. Carlos told me he ran around the bases slowly because he was trying to remain calm and not get too excited. He knew he had to go back out there and pitch, Dan.
There's also a couple of updates that I'd like to get with you. Is 1 ball, 1 strike here on Anthony Rizzo. And he yanks that down the right field line, foul. But let's start right there with Adam Wainwright. Where are the Cardinals with big number 50?
Waino threw another bullpen today, and they say they'll see how he responds tomorrow and then decide what's next for Adam. Michael Gersh says probably a rehab assignment, Dan.
And how about Alex Reyes?
Alex Reyes threw at extended spring today. Gersh says Reyes will likely go on a rehab assignment with Palm Beach next week, and I know Cardinal fans will be eagerly following his progress, Dan.
Yeah, count me in on that. Can't wait to see both. On the ground to DeYoung. 1 away. I emceed a season ticket holder function tonight, and one of the speakers was John Mozeliak, the president of baseball operations, and he was asked about Adam Wainwright. He said, well, you know, we got to get him right. We want to get him healthy and see where he's at. What stood out to me, though, with what Mo said, and it was quite the compliment, he said Adam Wainwright is the most competitive human being I've ever been around. Now think of all the players that John Mozeliak has seen come through the St. Louis Cardinals, and he said Adam is the most competitive human being I've ever been around.
He's at the very least tied for first, is he not? To use a Tony La Russa, he just wants the ball badly, and he'll do anything to get it. And you saw Adam last year. He pitched through a lot. He was not feeling good. He was going out there at days where he was topping out at 86, yet he battled, he competed, still figured out ways to win games. I can't wait to see him back healthy this year.
I wonder what the thoughts are, and I have not had the chance to visit with John about this specifically, but Albert Pujols was drafted by John Mozeliak. That was his role with the Cardinals back in the late 90s. John was under Walt Jocketty and others. Walt was running the team, and Mo had a variety of roles before becoming GM and then president of baseball operations. But it does make you wonder, for a guy that drafted one of the greatest players to ever play the game, what his thoughts might be on a night that Albert Pujols picks up hit number 3,000.
I'm sure that there is still a tremendous amount of pride there, knowing that he was here in the organization. I feel like most of Cardinal Nation feels that way. Kind of wish it was happening in a different jersey. Not to say that you would change the past, and we know this ball club would look a lot different if Albert Pujols were a part of it. That being said, you would like to see that moment here, right? I mean, could you imagine what the atmosphere would be like if he was going for 3,000 here tonight?
You were telling me you were interviewed by Bill Plaschke of the LA Times, correct?
Yeah, he called and he was kind of just asking about what the vibe was here about Albert. Do people care about it? I said, absolutely, they do. And there are some that you know don't connect with Albert as much anymore because he's gone. But most of us, right? I mean, we got to see the best decade plus, best 11 years of baseball, potentially ever, right here in St. Louis. And he was saying the vibe there is good. There's an excitement, but it's different. It's different when the 2,000 plus hits weren't built in your backyard.
Off the glove of Martinez, and safe at first, Kyle Schwarber. To put in perspective the greatness that we all witnessed, and you were in uniform with Albert Pujols. I was up here in the booth, did his first ever game, his first hit off of Mike Hampton, first home run in Arizona. I think about home run number 400, I called it in Washington, hit number 2,000 against the Cubs. I mean, so many moments. 11 seasons with the Cardinals, and look at all those numbers. But we went back, and I was trying to figure out, is it the greatest run ever by a right-handed hitter in 11 years? And some of the guys that we thought about, A-Rod, Willie Mays, maybe Manny Ramirez, Rogers Hornsby, Mitch Smith, who does a great job up here in the booth with us, started digging up some numbers. Only 3 players in the history of baseball had a .320 average, 40 or more home runs, and 100 RBIs in 11-year span. There are 3 of them in the history of the game. Babe Ruth, Jimmy Fox, Albert Pujols. That's what we were watching for 11 years here in St. Louis, and that's why that connection was extremely special. You're seeing something you're probably never going to see again.
Yeah, we all hope, right? We all hope that that next guy is there. I'm sure Mo hopes that next guy is there in the 13th round of an upcoming draft. But man, sometimes special things just come around. They come around once in a lifetime. And we got a chance to see it. I'm excited for Albert. I'm excited for his family. I'm excited for the Cardinal fan base and the Angels fan base. Going to get a chance to see history.
There's a 1-2 pitch. Up and in to Almora. And I understand, you know, some fans are like, hey, he didn't want to stay here. He didn't sign here. I'm done with him. That's a fan's prerogative. I mean, if they feel that strongly about it, I get it. I understand it. But I still think you should celebrate baseball history. And a ground ball that's hit to short. And a flip by DeYoung to Carpenter. Here's Paul DeYoung. View from section 164. Camera Phil Nichols here tonight. Packed house here at Busch Stadium. Beautiful night for baseball. The Cardinals and the rest of the National League Central, by the way, will be in interleague play next year, I believe, against the American League West, which would mean Albert Pujols probably one final time comes through St. Louis.
Already?
No kidding.
It's been a while.
Jeez. Here's a 2-0 pitch. What are you seeing here with DeYoung? Last 10 games, only 7 strikeouts. Much better.
Yeah, it is. I think he's getting a better recognition for the strike zone. Something I've been impressed with is with 2 strike two strikes, he's fouling off more. Instead of just flailing at stuff, he's able to just foul the ball off and get himself back into account. We saw against the Reds about 2 weeks ago where he had one of those. He had 2 strikes, fouled off a nasty breaking ball, then got a fastball middle up and hit a home run. I mean, if you just give yourself more chances, pitchers will make mistakes.
The 2-2 pitch inside. 28 hits on the year for DeYoung, and 13 of those have gone for extra bases, 7 home runs. Little chopper left side, but foul. I mentioned Pujols, Jimmy Fox, and Babe Ruth. We were talking about right-handed batters. Then we took it to lefties. So that's in all of baseball, that 11-year period. Just incredible. The 3-2. And he walked up. 4 walks issued by Quintana. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Barnes Jewish Hospital and Washington University Physicians, national leaders in medicine. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Pick your power, fuel, or battery with Steel. Search STIHL. And by Toyota, let's go places.
So, Dan, here's one of those little things, right? You talk about games being tight, fundamentals that need to be done. Miles can help himself out quite a bit right here, just laying one down, not trying to do too much. Sometimes you end up there trying to sacrifice. You end up trying to bunt for a hit accidentally. It's all about getting it down or crushing the ball.
How about that? Out to deep right, but backing up Hayward, and he makes the catch. Joe bunt, then crush a ball. Hit that pretty good.
It might have been 05 or 06. I think it was David Eckstein who did the little waggle like he was going to bunt and went Yahtzee to left field. It was either a grand slam or a 3-run home run. A grand slam, pretty impressive.
Here's Tommy Pham. Runner at first and 1 out. Laced foul. This is back in the 3rd inning, and Tommy Pham made it 3-0.
2-0 pitch, and that didn't go exactly where he wanted it to. Contreras looked like he was looking for something else. Tommy Pham knew exactly what he was looking for. It was that fastball in the inner half.
Out of play again. And Tommy has just turned into such an exciting player to watch.
He really is. And just and I know it gets talked about quite a bit, but it's amazing anytime you see it. The drive that he has, like as great as the numbers have been, and as long as he waited to be here on this stage and do it, he wants to be better. Like every single day he wants to be better than the last. That's not an easy thing to do.
1-2. He got 5 home runs, and 4 of those have been here at Busch Stadium. And even if he gets into a rut, we've seen him get the balls in center where he can make a difference with his legs. He's walking more, stolen bases. Good defensive player.
All-around player.
Yep. Already 81 pitches with just 1 out. Near the bottom of the 4th. And Pham drives it into left center. But the catch is made by Almora Jr. Hit that on the button too. So here we are in the 4th inning, already the 3rd time through, and something that Joe Maddon knows all too well. The .429 average against Quintana.
Well, it's very obvious today that Quintana's been falling behind. He's been leaving balls over the middle of the plate in hitters count. He's had a few walks, but you know the track record of your guy, right? And you want to get him right. Even though the numbers are what they are 3rd time around, he has been great in his career, right? So you got to figure out, you got to give him enough rope to get him right, but you also got to make sure as a club you don't find yourself in a hole. It's a difficult decision.
The check on to Young. Quintana traded right before the All-Star break a year ago. So he went from the White Sox to the Cubs, made 14 starts and went 7-3. So he's closing in on his season average for pitches per game.
I'm not sure Cardinal fans are as familiar with Quintana's work. I mean, like you said, he did get traded over last year, and I think a lot of the things that he did went under the radar due to the fact that Chris Sale was in that same rotation for the White Sox. But he was one of the most reliable starters, not just on the White Sox, but in the American League the last few years. I mean, this is a great pitcher when he's right. He's had good success against the Central, but it's been a little bit rocky this year.
Remember, he came through with the White Sox interleague play a few years ago, and he seemed to be unhittable. I mean, he was really good that night. 7th year and only 2 complete games. You just don't see that very often anymore. The complete game in Major League Baseball. That's fouled back. Got an ERA that's above 7 this season, 3rd inning or later. So and that probably tells you first time through okay, and then all of a sudden 2nd and 3rd is when he's getting beat up.
But it's a difficult thing when you have a guy with a track record like Quintana. You know he's going to get it fixed, but you also know you have to win ball games. These games count here in May, just like they do later on in the year. You got to know when to pull the parachute on a guy like him.
The strike on Carpenter. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He has walked in, struck out.
For all the struggles that he has had this year, Quintana's been very, very good against left-handed hitters.
Batting just .222 against him. He's 1 pitch away from his 5th walk in this ball game, and nobody up and throwing in the Cubs pen. He's due up 3rd for Chicago in the 5th. 3-2 and a ground ball hit to Rizzo. He'll take it himself, steps on the bag, and the Cardinals strand their 3rd runner of the night.
He hasn't walked anybody tonight. He's just been so efficient. The biggest thing, he gets ahead. He can get ahead with all pitches tonight. 12 for 15. First pitch strikes. He's doing it with the breaking ball, doing it with the fastball. Just got it all working here recently. Does a great job of keeping people off balance.
Here's Jason Hayward. I bet it put a smile on the face of Red Shandies to hear that Harry Burkeen has made it into the Cardinals Hall of Fame. We talked about Ray Langford and Vince Coleman both being elected by the fans. Here's a ground ball to first, taken by Martinez, and a flip to Michaelis. Red, we know you're watching. Thinking about you. Can't wait to see you back down here at the ballpark. A fun story about Harry Burkeen. His son is still with us, Steven, and probably will be at the induction ceremony in August. Harry's wife, Vera, and you'll really like this being a pitcher, she used to go to all his games, chart his pitches, and develop scouting reports for he and the rest of the team. I'm dead serious about that. Come on. She watched everything. There's a base hit for Baez into right field. Harry Burkeen was the first left-hander in the history of baseball to win 3 games in a World Series. Burst onto the scene in 1943 on the heels of a great 42 team. And he pushed everybody out of the way, and Harry the Cat Burkeen became a fixture in the 1940s. 2-time All-Star, 3 world titles, strikeout leader. And he's headed to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. There's Ian Happ, the switch hitter. He'll bat for Quintana, and Joe Maddon has to go to his pen. Some talk that, at least in the media, Steve Cishek, former Cardinal, getting loose, that Ian Happ, he's got options, young player, struggling. What do you think about sending him down? And Joe Maddon shot that down right away. Said not a chance. It's 3 for 5 as a pinch hitter. And one of those hits, a home run.
Sometimes you have to learn at this level, right? You have to learn how to fail. Happ has tons of talent. He's got a chance to stay in the big leagues a really long time, but you got to learn how to get yourself out of a slump. And getting sent down oftentimes, well, I mean, it creates a spot for somebody else. It doesn't help you get out of your jam.
And there's a base hit into right field. Cut off by Fowler. Baez racing to third. And he will stop there. Runners at second and third. And only one out.
Tell you what, it is a little bit amazing to me, the struggles that he's had early this year, and then the numbers that he's had pinch hitting now. That's 4 hits off the bench. Since you can see a breaking ball right there out of Miles Michaelis, just gets down in the zone. He's able to drop the head to it. That oftentimes for young players, that's even harder because you're waiting the entire time, the whole game, for your one chance, right, to get in there and get in that bat, and he's done a great job with that.
Well, Quintana now his shortest outing against the Cardinals, second shortest outing of the year. He went 2 1/3 against the Atlanta Braves back on the 14th of April. Now Zobrist popped up left side. Jerko gives it a look. Out of play. So Quintana, the short outing, but the defense let him down a bit. No earned runs in this game, but he did not help his cause. The pitch count, he had 4 walks. And the 0-1. Really took something off that pitch.
Yeah, really nice curveball right there, and this is where I mean, this is where it comes down to. It's executing pitches in a big spot, and the Cardinals have been executing a lot. You look at the ERA right here, lowest team ERA, 3.32, the GMC leaderboard. Cardinals getting it done.
It's down and in. 1-2 to Zobrist. Single to right. And also grounded out to second. Outfield is straight away. And the 1-2. Struck him out. Bill Miller punched him out. 3 strikeouts for Miles Michaelis.
96 miles an hour on the inner half, and just gets in there. I mean, this one is very, very close. Hits that inner third. You've got him looking for that breaking ball away and freeze him with that fastball in. Great pitch right there from Miles Michaelis.
Now Bryant, who is struck out and lined out. A leaping grab down at third by Jed Jerko. Broken bat. Jerko with the ground ball makes the play, and Michaelis some emotion as he exits the field. A 10-pitch inning and pitches out of trouble. We're midway through 5. Redbirds on top here in game 1. Night for baseball. The Cubs and Cardinals here at Busch Stadium. Steve Cishek, the new pitcher. And our Chevy called to the pen. The Sidewinder picked up in the offseason by the Cubs. Jose Martinez 2 for 2.
You see righties hitting a $129 off of Steve Cishek. There's no question. He's an uncomfortable at bat. He might not throw 99, but he looks like he's throwing it right at you. That breaking ball starts at your hip and ends up breaking away down the way in the corner. That's tough to hit.
You may remember at one point he was a real good closer with Miami. Cardinals picked him up for Barraclough. A fly ball lifted out to right, backing up Jason Hayward, and the catch is made. On Sunday, September 9th, you can join gold medalist Jackie Joyner-Kersee for the Cardinals Care 6K to benefit area children. Enjoy an on-course slip and slide. You'll finish on the field here at Busch Stadium. And you can register now at cardinals.com/6K. Ozuna with a single and a walk. So Quintana tonight gives the Cubs 4 innings. John Lester will go tomorrow.
And like you said, he didn't get a ton of help behind him, but he didn't help himself. He fell behind quite a bit, did walk his fair share of batters, and just didn't look sharp all evening.
Here's a 1-1. Check that. John Lester will go Sunday night. It'll be Luke Weaver and Tyler Chatwood tomorrow. Weaver 2-2. Chatwood is 2-3. And the 1-2 taken high.
Cishek throwing 89, 90 miles an hour, but it looks a lot harder. First of all, the deceptive arm angle, and then when you're seeing that slider at 78 coming at you and then 90 coming the other way, it looks firm.
The last game against Colorado is Cishek not happy there. The Cubs bullpen threw 97 pitches, something to consider as this night progresses and the series overall. 3-2. Fouled back.
Cubs bullpen has been very good, especially the back end of it, but it does take when you have a couple of games in a row where you have to use a lot of guys. Hopefully the Cardinals, they're already in it early. Hopefully they're able to get through a few more of them. It does wear you down quite a bit, and I mean that's where your struggles come from, is overthrowing at times.
Out of play. Just the shot of the Cubs manager Joe Maddon, who grew up a big Cardinals fan. He's a young boy growing up in Pennsylvania, used to get the games on radio. I've told this story before, but he has a letter as Ozuna singles into right field. He has a letter on Busch Bavarian letterhead that he's kept. He wrote to Harry Carey as a young boy, and Harry wrote him back, and he still has that letter from Harry Carey.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So the follow-up here is, I'm sure, being in your position, you get letters written to you all the time. Do you in fact write back?
Always. I'm dead serious.
Always. On letterhead?
Not on letterhead.
Well, we need to work on that.
And it doesn't matter if the letter is complimentary, kind.
Oh, so you write back for anything?
Anything.
I'm going to test this theory.
Thank you for taking the time to write whatever you did. Good, bad, and different. I appreciate you watching. Your dear and good friend, Dan. You going to write me a letter?
I think I am.
I can imagine.
Longhand.
Out to left. And the catch made near the track.
It's a lost art, you know. Just actually writing a letter. Not a text
Sure is.
or an email. So I'm going to do that for you. I just really hope you respond.
And you'll find this out, but you would be amazed at how many people are watching these games and where they are watching the games. Now, yeah, it's St. Louis. This is where we play, but this is a regional team. This is the Midwest. And with Fox Sports Midwest and the fact that you can pick up games wherever you want. I mean, I've gotten letters from overseas. People that never miss games, many in the military that write, which is wonderful. Now I will say it's probably the crowd of 35 to 40 years of age that write in, because if not, they try to find you on Twitter. And then that's their message to you, good, bad, and different. The younger crowd.
Which is a handy tool to have, and I'm sure it's mostly good, is it not? I mean,
it's been wonderful.
50-50.
How about for you?
So far, so good. I cry when I go home, but.
And Fowler hits it off the end of the bat, but that'll roll foul. I do. I love getting the letters. I really do.
Well, you know, you resonate with somebody if they take the time, one way or the other, like you said, they take time to sit down and write something out. That's kind of a cool thing.
Well, I kid. I mean, probably 99 of the 100 letters that you get are all positive, or they want to make a point about something you said, or something in Cardinal history that they're proud of. You hear from people all over the place. The other thing you find out is how important the Cardinals are to communities and families and kids. Three and two, the count on Dexter Fowler. There still is nothing like it coming to a major league ballpark. Big league baseball. That's outside. And the walk to Fowler, who's been on base 3 times. Friday, May 18th, 30,000 fans, 16 and older. You take home a Bob Gibson pitching rubber, courtesy of Ameren, Missouri. Unique giveaway commemorates Gibson's 1968 season. He compiled a ERA of 1.12. Tickets at Cardinals.com/promotions. And it's hit sharply to Rizzo. On a knee, knocks it down. Cishek to the bag, and the Cardinals strand a pair. We played 5. Hope you're enjoying it. Big League Baseball on Fox Sports Baseball here in the States. You couple that. There's a good pitch again by Michaelis, backhanded by Carpenter, and safe at first. To finish the point about Ichiro, you couple that with 1,278 hits in Japan.
Are you going to do math on the fly here?
In pro baseball, in Japan, and here in the States, 4,367 hits, which surpassed the great Pete Rose, who had 4,256, if memory serves correct.
Those are incredible numbers, and your memory did serve correct. Very nice.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Those numbers or your memory?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
I agree.
Ichiro and Albert came up at the same time. Here's Wilson Contreras. That is a foul ball. 9 of the last 11 against Michaelis have been put on the ground. Off balance, sinking.
Doing a very good job, like you said, keeping him off balance, keeping the ball at the bottom of the zone, and his off speed. It's amazing how many ground balls he gets with that. His fastball doesn't have a tremendous amount of sink, but his breaking balls have so much action, it's very hard to square him up.
Did you ever face Ichiro?
I didn't.
Would have been a good one, huh?
It would have been. That would have been one to write home about. Chances are he would have gotten me. A lot of good hitters did.
Got a lot of faith in your pitching abilities, huh?
I did at the time.
You better if you're going to do it at this level.
Darn right. Confidence is the biggest thing. It doesn't matter if you throw 100 miles an hour or if you throw 85. You better have confidence in what you're doing. I got a feeling Miles Michaelis recently has had a lot of confidence in what he's throwing out there. You see in the mix right here, you saw the 88-mile-an-hour slider right there. He's doing a great job of just keeping hitters off balance.
Cardinals beat out the Cubs to get Miles Michaelis. Cubs were in on him as well. Maybe the deciding factor, the fact that he is from Jupiter, Florida, and lives there. Obviously, the Cardinals train there. Breaking ball low, 2-2.
He set up that breaking ball very well. 0-2, he went inside off the plate. A lot of times it's a dangerous place to go because you're afraid that you might hit a guy every once in a while. You also don't want to leave it over the plate, but he executed that well. He set up the outer half very well here.
Jammed him, and it's caught by Carpenter. Congratulations to the students and schools that participated in the Homers for Health Home Run Derby Championship early today. Students had a chance to take on Cardinals players in a game of wiffle ball. All supports Homers for Health, K's for Kids, and SSM Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Here's Kyle Schwarber. Reached on an error back in the fourth by Martinez. And it's popped up. Shallow left center. Pham calls off Ozuna and makes the catch. Schwarber's reaction. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Round ball, round bat. Tough game.
It happens. Yeah, very hard to square anything up, right? But we know that Kyle Schwarber, he can be quite effective. And when he gets hot, he gets really hot. He can be a streaky hitter. I want to make sure that streak happens on somebody else.
Almora Jr. 1 for 2. You may remember in the 2009 All-Star game here in St. Louis, Ichiro came in with the American League team and visited the grave of George Sisler to pay his respects to George and his family after he had broken that single season hits record. He was a great student of baseball everywhere, Japan, and then became an incredible student of the game here in the major leagues.
I think that's why some guys are so good. There is an ability, right? You have something that other people don't have, but when you want to learn and when you care about the game and all the intricacies of it, it makes you better and better. And he's been a student the entire time, and I don't know exactly what his role will be while he transitions upstairs, but I got a feeling that he'll have an impact there as well.
Here's a 0-1 pitch. That time is called. In 2004, Ichiro 262 hits. That's just crazy.
It is crazy. And there was no getting around it unless you wanted to walk him because he was covering everything.
At the time, that was Ichiro's 9th All-Star game. And he broke that as a Mariners outfielder in 04. Sisler had 257 hits, and then Ichiro comes up with 262. And a grounder foul. Sisler's descendants, which at the time he had an 81-year-old daughter, and she had traveled to Seattle to witness Ichiro break that record, so he never forgot it, and that's why he decided to do that and come to St. Louis, obviously with the American League All-Star team, but he went with his wife and friends and laid flowers at his grave, and that's at Tepper Presbyterian Church Cemetery. And Sisler passed away in 1973. It's a great story.
It is a great story. It's really cool to do. Like I said, you can understand a moment and maybe you can see yourself pass somebody on a record book and just, man, look at me, look what I'm doing. But paying it forward, having respect for the game, to me that's special.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. If Michaelis, when he runs into issues, if and when, it's usually in the latter stages. Where some guys, they're slow to get going, like a Carlos Martinez. Last year, his first innings were issues.
Yep.
Michaelis,
Justin Verlander comes to mind, a guy that ends up getting stronger as he goes on.
6th or 7th sometimes can have an issue.
Doubles up with the fastball inside. He threw him a very nice slider to start this. If he could bury that one down and away, got a feeling you get him right here. You see the pitches by innings. He's been very efficient.
It's only at 80 the pitch count. He is due up second for the Cardinals, bottom half of this inning. Got him. Struck him out. Miles Michaelis has struck out 4. The Cubs strand another runner, their 5th of the night. And a strike. Cishek, his second inning of work. And that's hit down the right field line, slicing towards that sidewall, and a good jump by Jason Hayward. So DeYoung is walked and he is 0 for 2. 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of the '68 National League Championship team. Saturday, May 19th, 30,000 fans 16 and older will take home a wearable replica of the '68 ring. And again, that is May 19th, Cardinals.com/promotions. Back to Cishek. I know. Cishek sells Cishek. You can't say.
You almost had it. No, you almost nailed it.
You can't.
You got to keep trying. Practice makes perfect. You know that.
Cishek sells seashells on the seashore.
That was really good. I saw you doing all your stuff before the broadcast. I
was working on that one. Yeah, that was
really good.
A lot of guys like to, down in the clubhouse, they're lifting weights. That's how we do things up here.
I'm trying to learn. You were doing all your Ron Burgundy warm-ups?
Yes.
It's good.
Definitely did not read the teleprompter. And a strike at the knees to Tommy Pham.
Who put the question mark in there?
By the way, we are heading to San Diego on the next road trip.
Can't wait.
The strikeout of Tommy Pham. Brad, you are a big deal here in St. Louis.
Everyone comes.
Michaelis 21 of 24 first pitch strikes.
Pretty impressive, and he's doing it with everything. 13 of them with the fastball, 5 for 5 with the breaking ball, 3 out of 4 with the slider. That's hard. If you're a hitter, you don't know what to expect first pitch. There's another one.
Jason Hayward in the top of the 7th. Hayward is grounded out twice, 0 for 2. Little chopper to second base. One away. Well, you're Mike Matheny. You start saying, okay, 83 pitches, 1 out in the 7th. He hit for himself in the 6th. We're a long ways away from his spot. So the question becomes, how far do you go with Miles Michaelis? And having said that, you've had 2 off days this week, so your bullpen is plenty rested if you need to go in that direction.
Yeah, bullpen is strong right now, and you like the options that you have. That being said, though, I think I use the eyeball test. What is Michaelis telling me? Oftentimes the pitch count doesn't tell the whole thing. By the way, another slider right there for strike 1, just commanding the counts with everything. It's amazing what he's doing. I think you ride this out.
Here's the 0-1. Just has, I mean, I don't think we can understate it enough, or overstate it, I should say. It's been understated coming into play, but just how much movement he has on his pitches. It's incredible movement. There again, off the end of the bat. Little soft roller to first baseman Jose Martinez. The Hyundai pitch arsenal on the season, and then comparing the percentage thrown of those pitches tonight.
Just mixes it up so well. He establishes the fastball, throws the breaking balls off of it. He can get himself, he doesn't find himself currently in too many counts where he's behind, but if he does, he can either throw the curveball or the slider to get back into a count. It's got to be very hard as a hitter to have to deal with all of those. And then, by the way, we've seen him run the ball up to 98 miles an hour. That's a lot.
That's been his high. The low tonight has been 77, so quite the variance in speeds. I'm getting a lot of questions about writing letters. Send them to the Cardinals.
Give out your home address. That would probably be easier, and it would expedite the process.
Send it to Busch Stadium. We'll get them, hopefully. Victor Caratini, a switch hitter, 4-man bench for Chicago. Listella from the left side, Addison Russell from the right side, then Happ and Caratini. And a strike at the knees. The 1-1. Right at this moment, the reliever just grabbed a baseball to play catch. A single into center field. That's a reliever for the Cardinals. Lefty Lyons has just gotten up as well.
Very few mistakes from Miles Michaelis today, but he leaves one out there right there for Caratini. 94 over the middle of the plate. He doesn't try to do too much. He just gets the barrel to it.
That's Luke Gregerson and Tyler Lyons. The switch hitter Ben Zobrist, and now Mike Maddox.
Injury or illness should never interrupt childhood. St. Louis Children's Hospital, guardians of childhood.
Talk to those around the Cardinals and what's the best asset of Mike Maddox. And they say, just like many pitching coaches, understands technique, what guys are trying to do. They say he's a wonderful communicator, like amazingly good with just talking to guys about life, where they're at with their careers, what's happening in the game.
You know, there are a lot of pitching coaches that relay essentially the same information on a day in, day out, but it's getting your pitchers to be able to retain it. It's being able to explain it in a way where, to a man, they understand it. And from everybody that I've talked to, Mike Maddox is one of the best at that. He just gets through to you.
Think about this tonight. The Cubs pinch hitters, they're 2 for 2. Everybody else in their lineup 4 for 25 against Miles Michaelis. There's a base hit by Happ, the double into the corner and right back in the 5th, and then Caratini that single into center. And a fly ball lifted to left. Ozuna is there, puts it away. It's time to stretch. It's game 1. The Cubs and Cardinals. Carpenter, Martinez, Ozuna coming up, and the Birds on top, 3-0. His 12th appearance, the lefty for Joe Madden. Our score 3-0 as we move to the bottom of the 7th. This is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. So the Cardinals a 3-0 lead. You just joined us, a Tommy Pham home run back in the 2nd. And a ball to Carpenter. Some big news out of the National League East Division with the Mets. Designated for assignment, one Matt Harvey.
You know, he had his struggles. Obviously, recently moved to the pen. When asked about the move, he said on a 10 out of 10 level, he was a 10 of angry about it. And they got to the point where they wanted him to work on things and wanted him to go down. He said he would not go down to the minor leagues, and they said, well, we can't help you anymore. And that is a relationship that looked like it could be a bright one that ended up ending abruptly today.
A lot of talk about off-field issues in terms of, you know, maybe just not putting the game as his #1 priority.
As an organization, you want to know that your guy is putting everything into it, right? And everybody wants to go have fun. Everybody wants to have things that they do. And I do realize in that city that it's different. I mean, you go out and you end up on page 6, right? It's a different animal. But you got to take care of business first and foremost. You can do all those things when you're succeeding. You look colorful and you're a man about the town. But when you're not, you got to lay low a little bit more, and you got to get your priorities in check.
Strikeout of Carpenter. He didn't like it. From 2012 to 15, you saw in that graphic, he was a 25-game winner, and his ERA was 2.5. That just caught lower portion of the zone. And it wasn't all that long ago, that Matt Harvey was begging Terry Collins to stay late in a game. And he was the Dark Knight. It was late in the postseason in that World Series of 2015. That was Game 5 in New York, Citi Field against Kansas City, and all the cameras are on him. And he's basically telling Terry Collins, I'm staying in this game. I'm staying in the game.
He didn't say please or thank you. No, he just told him, hey, I'm going to be in there. And if you were Terry Collins at that point, it was hard to say no to it.
That's driven out to left center. Almora on the run makes the catch.
Almora covered a ton of ground on that. That ball was driven out into the gap. He is seeing the ball well right now.
You know, those that have had that thoracic outlet situation too, and Matt Harvey was one of those. A lot of those guys just don't come back with the late life that they once had. You know, Tommy John's one thing, but the thoracic outlet syndrome or surgery that those guys have, and you know about it, Brad. I mean, being a pitcher, they just don't come back.
No, for sure. And that's why all the little things matter even more for you. So you do have to do more. You do have to make adjustments. You got to figure yourself out as a pitcher. You got to figure out what your new norm is, right? So that's where it comes into the day in and day out of you putting in the work and figuring that out. And you got the rest of your life to do whatever else you want. I mean, you can find your fun. You can do other things. I hope for his sake, I hope for baseball's sake that he finds it again, because he was electric. It was fun to watch. But it was time for a change of scenery anyhow in New York. Just happened a little bit sooner than I think most expected.
And remember, he started an all-star game, and you're right, electric was the way to describe him. And you know there's going to be other teams that do give him that chance. Here's the 0-2. So many teams that'll say, well, we can look at the video. We can figure out something with him to get him back.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you're right. There's going to be a bunch of teams that want to bring the pitcher in. The question is, how does he fit into your clubhouse, your dynamic? Do you have the leadership to make sure that any of the issues he's had in the past aren't a problem? Or is your team young enough and you just need some help where you bring it in and hopefully it's a reality check that he ended up getting released and he figures some things out?
Ozuna is starting to figure things out at the plate. 3 for 3 with a walk.
Gets a ball in on the inner half where pitchers were abusing him early on in the season. He's able to get to that ball right there and just drive it down the left field side. Seeing the ball well. And the doubles are coming. The home runs are coming. But the fact that he's getting on base, getting to those inside fastballs, that's big.
Strike to Yadier Molina. Molina seems to be off the plate a little bit more in this at bat. Could be wrong. Now, would a player and a hitter do that specifically because they're getting beat inside?
Yeah, a lot of times it's an easy fix, right? You know what ball you can get to and what one you can't, and if you can make the one you can't get to and you make sure it's a ball, then you know what you can cover. But I will tell you this, when you stand that far away from the plate, that pitch right there, 95 on the black, that's going to be very difficult to cover.
Here's a 1-2. They've gone up with 2 strikes on Molina in this ball game tonight.
Yeah, got a strikeout earlier up there. He fouls that one off. Very rarely does Yadi go up there and chase. Yadi doesn't chase very much at all. But he's seeing the ball up there. It's very hard. That's why there's so many strikeouts up in the zone. It's hard to lay off of that. It looks like something you can get the barrel to. And oftentimes you just can. And then you see the fastball down and away off of that. That's just pitching. As good as his bullpen has been for the Cubs, also Wilson has been the guy that they've tried to get going. He struggled a bit here recently.
And again, maybe they're picking up what we're seeing too. They've gone to the outside corner against Molina here in this plate appearance.
We figure right now we know how good Yadi is at going the other way with the ball, and he can slap something that way. But currently, with a runner on first base, that little base hit to the right side is not going to hurt you. If you end up coming into him and giving him something that he can hit, that's where the damage is going to come.
2-2. Pretty good speed at first in Ozuna. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Yadier Molina. Inside.
Just coming in for effect there. It was very obvious that he didn't want to throw that strike on the inner half. I don't know if he was trying to go that deep in there, but he was certainly trying to go in off the plate.
And Ozuna is running with this pitch. There he goes. Up the middle and a base hit. Marcel on his way to third. And runners at the corners for St. Louis. And the former Cub, Dexter Fowler, coming up.
Yadi just getting one out over right here. This isn't a bad pitch. Catches a little bit of the play, but in a 3-2 count, you know he's coming after you. Yadi just stays up the box right here. Ozuna on the run. You got runners at first and third right here with Dexter having a chance to drive one in.
They're trying to add to this 3-run lead. Strike on Dexter Fowler.
Dan, I think that's a big run sitting over there at third base right now. There have been a lot of tight ball games. There have been a lot of opportunities early in the season. As good as the Cardinals record has been, they've left some ducks out on the pond. It would be nice to get that one in.
Almost hit him. The Cardinals tonight, they have a total of 8 hits. 5 of those have come with 2 outs, and that includes a 3-run homer hit by Tommy Pham. Nobody up and throwing in the Cardinals pen. The 1-1. Fowler lines it foul. He had the big hit the other day. And then the previous homestand, the walk-off homer. The 1-2, and he strikes out. So Fowler is 1 for 24 against left-handed pitching this year. Cardinals strand 2. Michaelis. They had the conga line going back in the second inning with a Tommy Pham 3-run homer, and that has been all the scoring in this game. 3-0 as we head to the 8th. Miles Michaelis has been the signing of the year so far among pitchers. I mean, this guy has been outstanding, and in many ways came from nowhere. People were wondering, who is Miles Michaelis? Now he's turning into a front end of the rotation type pitcher. Colton Wong takes over at second, and Carpenter moves from second to first. Martinez out of the game. Here's Chris Bryant. The last time a Cardinal pitcher threw 4 consecutive games of 7+ innings, you have to go back to the 2015 season. That year the Cardinals won 100 games, and it was John Lackey.
Wow, it's impressive what he's doing and the way he's doing it. So you see this at bat right here to Bryant already. You get a slider for a strike, breaking ball in there for strike 2, and now you're in the driver's seat.
And Bryant serves it into right, and that's a base hit. Down into the corner, Chris Bryant will stop at second base, and what a piece of hitting there.
Yeah, it was, and a pitch that while it was on the outer half, it was up a little bit higher. He's been having some great success up in the zone. He's been having some great success with fastballs down and away, and really it was a good pitch. Just 0-2. You got Chris Bryant that's trying to cover, thinks you're going away, and just gets the barrel to it and drives one down the line.
You've got Anthony Rizzo coming up. Tyler Lyons coming on. And listen to this ovation for Miles Michaelis. Here's Rizzo against Lyons, and the first pitch is strike. Rizzo 1 for 3. The numbers on Tyler Lyons in our Chevy call to the pen. Popped up a mile high. Wong going after it. Fowler coming in and makes the catch.
I love the way they attacked Rizzo right there. You get a couple of fastballs on the inner half. We know Tyler Lyons has got a really good breaking ball, and especially when he's on, that thing is nasty. But you also know that Rizzo knows that he's got a good breaking ball, and he attacks him with a fastball in, gets him pop up lazily to right.
He's now 4 for 14 after that pop-up against Lyons. Dominic Leone with 1 out, runner at second. He'll come in and face Contreras when we come back. No, here he was warming up. We always keep a camera on the pitchers when they decide to warm up and come into a ball game, and clearly something not right.
You can see it as he was walking off the mound, the way he's carrying that right arm. Got to feel like that's something forearm related. Could be elbow. Not exactly sure. Don't want to speculate, I guess, at this point. But scary moment.
Ryan Sheriff, who was just added to the 25-man roster again, and also Bud Norris. Those two had not been throwing, so they're just trying to get somewhat loose down in the Cardinal bullpen. And again, Dominic Leone, another look at it. Just getting loose. So Luke Gregerson called from the pen. With plenty of time to get loose and warm in this very important game. It's 3-0 St. Louis. Michael Gersh, the general manager, on the left, the president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak, on the right. And they were literally just on the phone within the last minute. Michael Gersh was, and I'm sure that's to make a call and figure out how to take that spot for Leon. It did not look good.
No, it didn't. You don't know the severity of it. None of us do at this point, but you do know when a guy comes off the mound and can't throw as he's warming up that you're likely going to have to grab somebody from the minor leagues. Fortunately for the Cardinals, and we've seen it already this year, I mean, they've got a lot of guys down there that can come up and do the job, but scary moment for Dominic Leon. You got to just hope it was something small.
This was before our first pitch today. Sam Tuivailala and Ryan Sheriff back with the big club. Luke Voigt and Austin Gomber. Voigt did not hit. Gomber didn't pitch, so they're back to AAA. Who knows? Maybe Austin was halfway to Memphis and got the call and come on back, or somebody else. You don't know. It's Greg Holland there on the left, Sam Tuivailala on the right. You've been in that bullpen, and when you see something like that happen to one of your teammates, you know, you guys are very close.
Yes,
it's a very tight-knit group.
It's one of your brothers, and I guarantee you they probably sent down a representative from the bullpen already to go down there and just check on him and see how he's doing. As a team, you're all close-knit anyhow. I mean, this is a group, we're going to battle, but every position group, I mean, you're close together, and that bullpen is definitely a family. They're worried about their guy.
So the crew chief is also the home plate umpire, Bill Miller. He gave Luke Gregerson all the time that he needed to get loose. Gregerson had been up at one point, but he wasn't throwing in the last, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes. And there's a different way, as you know, as a reliever, how to get loose. Sometimes you're getting just warm, and then you're getting hot.
For sure, and you have to get hot quickly, and it's different doing so on the main mound. You know, it's different when you have somebody sitting there. You've got Contreras on the on-deck circle watching you the entire time.
Isn't that the truth? So Contreras digs in, and the first pitch is taken for a ball.
See what we've seen Luke Gregerson the last couple of times out. He's had 2 scoreless outings in a row now. He seems to have a good feel for his slider that is really good when he's effective. Got good movement on his fastball, and he's been getting ahead. I know he falls behind in this count, but he's looked a lot better his last couple times out.
And there's a pitch that's up and fouled away. And it's a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Contreras tonight is 0 for 3. I just wonder if Mike Matheny, 2 ways to look at it, was going to keep Leon in to face not only Contreras but also Schwarber, because he does like Leon against left-handed batters. Now with Gregerson, that may change the equation. You say he's in to face Contreras, and then you go with the lefty Sheriff to face the man on deck, and that's Schwarber. Now you do have Jason Hayward to think about too, another left-handed bat. Goes lefty righty lefty righty. On the bench, Addison Russell, right-handed batter. Tommy LaStella on the other side, a left-handed batter for Joe Madden. 3 balls 1 strike. Those are some of the options there for Mike.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them, and I think it just kind of depends how this plays out right here. Looks like Bud Norris is the one that's getting hotter out in the bullpen currently.
Now the 3-1 pitch to Contreras. Out of play. 3-2. With Gregerson, you think about a guy that's got that great slider.
Yes.
But if it's not sharp against a left-handed batter, you got to watch him here to make your decision on what you want to do.
I think this pitch will tell you a lot. You're 3-2 right now. You know how good that slider is. We've already seen a good one or two in this at bat. If he's able to bury one right here and it looks good, I might have some confidence letting him go out there.
The 3-2 pitch. He got him. Big strikeout for Luke Gregerson.
There's this nasty slider right here, 82 miles an hour. See it start on the inner half and just drop this in here. You got 3-2 count. You don't necessarily want to walk him, but you had a place to put him, right? If in fact he doesn't go chasing on that, that's just a great pitch.
And now it's Kyle Schwarber. So you have the right-hander against the big slugger, Kyle Schwarber. You did have Sheriff ready to go if need be. And maybe what Mike is thinking here is that he's going to stay with Gregerson, because if he brings in Sheriff, Joe Madden then counters, so he'd rather have this matchup. Schwarber, by the way, against left-handed pitching, is hitting .067. And here's a 1-0 pitch.
Uses that off speed to get right back in the count here against Schwarber. Kyle looking for something up in the zone to do some damage with.
So Mike saying he's going to take his chances here instead of a lefty against probably Addison Russell. Here's a 1-1. And I also think your point is spot on. That last 3-2 pitch to strike out Contreras was sharp. So he says, hey, I see that pitch, that buys him another guy.
Yeah, well, it shows that he's got some confidence in it and he can bury it, although that last one right there just came out on him a little bit earlier. Gregerson's going to be one of your guys at the back end of the pen this year that you're going to trust to get lefties and righties out. And it's about eyeball test, about when you extend him out. And I think Mike saw enough in that last batter that he wanted to do it here with Schwarber.
The 2-1 is hit on a hop to first. Carpenter there. Nice work. Luke Gregerson. You know he loves it. Miles Michaelis. 3-0 St. Louis. If you go back to last year, 10 scoreless innings. He's appeared in 14 games. Lefties hitting just .239 against him. So he's been very tough on the lefties and tough overall.
Got a couple of different breaking balls he'll throw at you. Give you the curve ball and the slider. Locates his fastball pretty well.
And there's a ball to Jed Jerko. Infield hit, run scored back in inning number 2. He struck out and also grounded out. Bud Norris is set for the 9th. The Cubs have 3 of the 8 lowest ERAs out of their pen in Major League Baseball. Dunsing, Morrow, they're both at 0.
Tighter record.
And Edwards, .66. A good changeup there.
I mean, at some point, going to give up a run this year, right? Might as well be now. And get a little insurance run going. You know, with Jed Jerko, all it takes is a mistake over the middle of the plate.
Here's a 1-2. The 2-2 hit up the middle, base hit. And Jerko is 2 for 4.
Dunsing goes with a changeup right here, and if he buries this pitch, if he gets it down a little bit further, he probably gets him. It gets away, but it's still up high enough for Jerko to handle that thing. We got something going here, a little momentum here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Here's to Young, and then we'll see Bader. He's moved to the on-deck circle. Bolt tonight. Twice his flight out to right, and he walked back in the 4th. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That side of the plate has been fairly generous today. If I'm pitching to Paul DeYoung and I'm Brian Dunsing, I'm a little bit nervous to throw him that breaking ball, get me over for a strike. You know how he can turn on the ball. I might want to stay harder in or in off the plate.
Went in, and it's hit out of play. 1-2.
Once again, when you have that big breaking ball like he has, that 90, we talked about it with Steve Cishek earlier in the game. The velocity it's all about change. It's all about the difference that you see. He throws that slow breaking ball in, that 90 looks really quick. It can speed you up inside.
And the 1-2 back to Dunsing, out at second, and it's a double play. 1-4-3 on the double play, the second double play the Cardinals have been into tonight. Tomorrow, make your furry friend happy. Take home a special Cardinals pet treat jar, courtesy of Farina. If you have a ticket, get here early. And those jars available to 30,000 pet lovers, or those that love to eat out of pet treat jars.
Not judging. It's fine. It's a good vessel to eat a snack out of, I think.
I don't know what you might like that.
Why judge?
Put some cereal in there. Thank goodness this is a quick out. We head to the 9th, and it's a 9-pitch inning for Dunsing. His 16th appearance. Our Chevy called to the pen. The first batter is Albert Almora Jr. Cardinals trying to take game 1 here tonight. This 3-game series here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The only scoring a Tommy Pham home run. A 3-run shot. The first pitch taken high.
Bud Norris has taken to this closing job quite well. I know he had the 19 saves last year as a member of the Angels. He just seems so confident out there in all of his stuff, and his stuff is great. The transition to the bullpen, he can let it eat a little bit more with his fastball. We see him in the mid-90s. He's got the good cutter, keeping the lefties off balance, and he's got the good slider to wipe out anybody. You got to love the confidence that he has. He's just filling up the strike zone.
We were doing games down in spring training, and the thought was Dominic Leone would have been the closer. Greg Holland had not been signed at that point. He was signed on opening day in New York, and Bud Norris was more of a 6th or a 7th inning pitcher. That's pulled foul and a broken bat.
And you remember even early on in spring training, it was there were thoughts that, hey, we'll lengthen Bud Norris out a little bit, throw some more innings, and see what his role evolves into. I'm not sure too many expected this to be it.
It has worked, though.
It certainly has. Talk about the signing of Miles Michaelis being the signing of the year. I would say the signing of Bud Norris comes in as a close second. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
One ball and 2 strikes. Lined it to right, and a leadoff base hit.
Bud trying to go away with this fastball. It's 95, but it gets away from him, just ends up being center cut, belt high. And Almora's able to drive that thing out there to right field.
Jason Hayward.
You know what fixes that, though, that leadoff base hit? Is a little 4-6-3. You like those?
Love them.
Big fan.
I'll take the 6-4-3.
Either way,
I'll take the 1-6-3.
you throw three numbers together, I'll take any of them.
Gotcha. Now Hayward. And he hits it a ton out to deep left. Ozuna back. He's got it. Marcell tracks it down in left field.
It's a good play right there by Marcell Ozuna. Hayward, we don't see him drive the ball that way with authority very often. He stays on this one. That ball just keeps on traveling.
It's a good jump that he got on that.
It is for sure.
He's had a couple of nice plays tonight. And the batter is Javi Baez. Over 5, couple of strikeouts against Norris. Strike one.
Starts him out with that hard cutter to get ahead, 90 miles an hour.
Baez has grounded into one double play. Hits the ball so hard, you do think that there might be that chance. Hit right at an infielder, you've got your two. Tommy La Stella has moved to the on-deck circle. And the 0-1. Base hit into left. And the tying run now comes to the plate. The Cubs have something going. Let's turn to our Budweiser play of the game. Tommy Pham with this home run, a 3-run shot. 5th of the year. RBI 12, 13 and 14. That's your Budweiser play of the game. It's gotten interesting here. Cubs Cardinals 9th inning, tying run at the plate. La Stella 5 for 14 as a pinch hitter this year. Strike one.
We talked about the little things right coming into this one, and we just saw the highlight of that Tommy Pham home run to make the game 3-0. We'll remember before that there was an error at short. Baez made an error to get Dexter Fowler on. Jed Jerko with a little infield hit where Rizzo pulled his foot over at first base, and then the damage happened. The little things are the difference in a game like this.
1 ball, 1 strike. Cubs have done an excellent job pinch hitting this year. Tonight alone 2 for 2. And on the season their pinch hitters 313. La Stella off the bench has driven in 5. 1 ball, 1 strike. Center field, Pham racing in, diving for it, comes up short. A run will score. Throw will come into second, keeps La Stella out of scoring position. Almora scores, and it's 3-1. I think right now of concern certainly for the Cardinals. That's 4 batters and 4 hard hit balls.
Hey, to see a breaking ball once again just up in the zone. But coming into this game has done such a good job of just keeping the ball down. Tommy Pham makes a great effort on this one, gets a good jump on it as well, but just not able to get to that sinking liner. The thing you have to remember as a pitcher, and yes, it starts going fast. That's probably what Mike Maddox is telling him. Look, you're a pitch away. You are 1 pitch away. It could be the little cutter down and away. It could be a slider. It could be a fastball that's well located. But a ground ball somewhere gets you out of the mess.
Ben Zobrist. We're back to the top of the lineup. The tying runs are on. The go-ahead run comes to the plate. Zobrist 1 for 4 on the night with a base hit to right. Now with what you've seen with 4 hard hit balls, if you're Mike Matheny and you've been in that bullpen an awful lot, do you think about having somebody up right now just in case?
You know what, I think right now you can call down and have somebody start throwing if you want to, but Bud Norris has gotten out of some jams early on. You trust his stuff. You know what he's done. You see what he's done in save situations so far. He's been perfect. That's the role of a closer, right? Like, closers don't have a chance to have off days and then you just bounce back from them. Oftentimes, I mean, your bad days are, you got to go get them again tomorrow. But Bud Norris is trying to lock in right here and get this one going. You might have somebody tossing, but this is his game.
Well, as we just brought up that point, Greg Holland is moved to the mound in the bullpen. On a hop, out at second. And that's all they're going to get. A run will score to make it a 3-2 St. Louis lead. And the game is extended to the former MVP. Great power. Dangerous at the plate. Chris Bryant. Head to head with Bud Norris. Hitless in 6 plate appearances with 2 strikeouts. And fans on both sides of the rivalry rise. Bryant with a double into right field, back in the 8th. 2 outs, runner at first. Strike 1.
Chris Bryant looking to be aggressive right there. Bud Norris is able to bury that cutter 90 miles an hour down in the zone. We've seen him elevate that pitch a couple of times this inning. Really stayed on top of that one and buried it.
The 0-1. Now 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball. This should do it. Force play at second. Stretched by Wong, and the Cardinals hold on. They take game 1. The final of 3-2. Ooh, it got interesting late. But the Cardinals and Norris hold on, and they pick up a win in game 1 of the series. 3-2.
Bud Norris bears down right there, gets some fastballs in on Zobrist and Bryant to nail this thing down. Incredible job by him. Awesome first game of this series.
Tommy Pham, the big blast in this game. More on that. More on the victory. More on Miles' post-game show next.